Hey there. So this is Robin Dreeke. I want to thank you for sending me the questions, and so let's get right to it. Um, First question: what was the reason for beginning to develop your knowledge and gaining effective communication skills? Um, well, lots. Failure at many things. My first example I talk about with needing better communication skills was when I was a young second lieutenant in the Marine Corps, and I was ranked last out of all these second lieutenants. Actually, it was 14 out of 14. And my Marine Corps major, who was in charge of me, said to me, "Hey, you just need to be a better leader." I was like, "All right, how do you do that?" And he goes, "You need to make it about everyone else but yourself." I had no idea that I wasn't doing that. I thought I was doing that. And I needed to develop the skills to make my language less self centered and focused on me and more focused on other people. So that was really the beginning of trying to understand exactly how to shift my language from myself to others. And so when you include one of these four things, and I'll say this a few times throughout the questions because it really applies to every situation, that is, shifting your language from yourself to others is really simple. Seek their thoughts and opinions. Seek their thoughts and opinions rather than giving them yours. Talk in terms of what's important to them and their priorities instead of yours. Validate them without judging them. In other words, have non-judgmental curiosity about who they are. And finally, when you empower them with choices, when you do one of those four things and everything you say and do, the shift is from yourself to them, and their brain just loves it and rewards them for it. How changing the way you communicate with others affected your life? It made it so much easier because with effective communication, what you're really doing is you're building healthier, stronger relationships. And that's the backbone to absolutely everything you're trying to do in life comes down to you can't do this alone. You can't achieve anything in life alone. It requires good, healthy, strong relationships. And those relationships are forged on trust. And trust is forged from great interpersonal communication skills where you're talking in terms of the other person, you're being fully transparent, honest, and trustworthy. There you go. What did you learn about communication while working for the FBI? Probably the single most thing that helped me the most is being non-judgmentally curious. Because when you are tasked with, especially in the world of counterintelligence, I probably had to talk to people. I had to talk to people from all over the world, 22 different nationalities, I think total. I counted up one time where people I had to communicate with. And if you go into the conversation with a preconceived notion of who they are and what their culture is and background without trying to explore it first from their point of view, you're going to fail a lot of times. And so you had to really develop a lot of curiosity about another human being non-judgmentally, because again, people can pick up if you're judging them or not. If they feel judged, shields are up. And so how do you have non-judgmental curiosity? Easy. Go back again to seeking their thoughts and opinions, talk in terms of their priorities, validate them without judging them, and giving them choices. So that is what I found to be the most effective thing in the world. Again, is just be curious in a non-judgmental way. What advice on communication and leadership would you give to leaders? So there's tons. I read a lot of books on leadership. I teach a lot of leadership. And this is a topic that could go on and on. But I think the easiest thing for leaders to really do is create a circle of trust. There's three pillars to leadership that I believe in and that others concur with as well. And that is, number one, leaders accomplish missions, goals, and priorities. Number two is they create safe work environments mentally, physically, and emotionally. So it's creating that circle of safety. And three, they are resources for the success and prosperity of their people. Now let's go back to that second one. Creating a safe environment, like a circle of trust, in other words. And how do you do that? You do that by demonstrating how you value your people and how you want to affiliate with their people. And so how do you demonstrate value and affiliation? If leaders start building into their language those four things, you're going to start much better off than you otherwise would have. Instead of being directive in what you're trying to do, you need to build up your leadership reservoir of goodwill, because in times of stress, you'll be able to tap that reservoir. But if you're constantly taking from the reservoir by being directive and assertive, people are going to stop paying attention to you. So again, do these four things in every leadership position you have, and it'll demonstrate value and affiliation. As seek their thoughts and opinions, talk in terms of their priorities, validate them, giving them choices. How your communication techniques might have a positive impact on running a business. Same thing. When you're doing those 4 things, you're demonstrating value and affiliation. That creates positive brand, personal brand of what represents you, and company brand as well. When everyone's communicating in this manner and creating trust internally, that just manifests itself externally as well. And so customers want to come back and deal with you. Other companies want to do work and business with you. It's a great way in order to build trust and partnerships with everyone. I do it in my own company all the time. Tell me about a conversation that came out really unexpected and became an unforgettable experience due to communication techniques. I can cite lots that are going well because of it. I think it's a lot easier to tell you about one that went sideways and wrong. Back when I was in New York, I was starting to get, as an FBI agent in New York City, this is prior to 9/11, I was getting pretty good at getting sources, talking to people, not recruiting spies. I was working on it, but, just talking to people. And we had to recruit confidential human sources for the FBI. These are people that give us information about the spies that we're interested in trying to recruit. And I was getting better at this, and I was having a little too much fun because I always thought it was about me. Even though I'd have these great conversations, high energy and all this one individual I was talking to, he didn't have a lot of time, but he's willing to cooperate and willing to give me a hand. And all I kept doing the entire conversation was talking about my priorities. I kept talking about wanting to take him to a baseball game, taking him out to dinner, doing all these things. But it's all the things that I want to do. I didn't seek his thoughts and opinions once. I didn't talk in terms of his priorities once. And at the end of the conversation, he said, Robin, I came here wanting to help you, but, I just don't have the time for this. It stunned me. And I reflected on it later on, and it's because I wasn't doing those 4 things when communicating with him. So it really hit home that, hey, you can have all the high energy in the world, but if you do not focus and shift that focus from yourself to others, you will fail majestically. In your book, it's highlighted that your methods are founded on the biological and genetic conditions of every human being. What conditions does this refer to? Genetically and biologically, we are all coded to want to belong to meaningful groups and organizations. We want to become part of a tribe and be valued by the tribe, because if we don't, our genetics is saying we won't survive. And so we're constantly looking for indicators that we're part of a tribe and being valued by that tribe. And so that's what I'm constantly going to, is understanding that human beings will always act in their own best interests in terms of safety, security, and prosperity, and a sense of control. And so when you use those 4 things when communicating with individuals, you're demonstrating that you're acting in their best interests in terms of safety, security, and prosperity, and giving them control. So that's how this communication works, and that's what we're all seeking all the time. What are the traits of people who are naturally skilled in communication and can easily endear other people? Easy. I'd say it comes down to curiosity. The people in life that we love communicating with and chatting ones are the ones that are curious about us and love hearing the things we're sharing with them, our anecdotes and stories and our thoughts and opinions, and they constantly seeking more, and they're validating us. In other words, they're not judging the things that we're saying, and they just encourage us to say more. Those are the people that have this naturally. My wife has this naturally. How to talk to people who are fanatically devoted to their own beliefs. Is there any possibility to make them more open-minded? So I literally just taught a course that had this in it. I always think in terms of inspiring people to want to listen to you rather than convincing people to want to listen to you. Because convincing people is about me. If I want to try to inspire you, I got to focus on you. And so say someone has a very hard-line point of view that's completely different from yours. You hear their point of view, and you say, that's not what I think. Here's what I think. What's the likelihood you're going to change your mind or even have them listen to you? 0. As opposed, you can use those 4 things, that language, to hopefully inspire them to at least want to listen to you. And so after they share their point of view, instead of negating it, you validate it and say, wow, I never heard it quite put that way before. Help me understand. How did you come up with that? What were some of the challenges along the way? So again, you sought their thoughts and opinions. Their shields are coming down. Their defensives are coming down. After they share their thoughts and opinions with you, you know, validate it. And validation doesn't necessarily mean you're agreeing with them. It means you're seeking to understand it. And so as soon as they share that thought and opinion, you say, wow, thanks again for sharing. I'm curious, what do you think about this? And now you ask their thoughts and opinions about your opinion. Doesn't mean they're going to pay attention. Doesn't mean you're going to change their mind or become more open-minded. But the fact that you asked them their thoughts and opinions about the thing you wanted to tell them to begin with, they will hear it. It's a guarantee, because you don't plant seeds with people by telling them what you think. You plant seeds with people by asking them what they think. Again, using one of those 4 things does wonders when communicating. I ran an online survey and got to know the point of view of others to understand their struggles with communication. So number 10, majority of people answered that what they struggle most with is coming up with the topics of conversation and the feeling of superficiality of the talk. How to overcome this issue. Easy. I ask challenges questions. And what I mean by that is, a great, easy, organic way to have a conversation with someone is to have them talk about what's important to them and the challenges they're facing right now. What kind of challenges have you had with COVID? What kind of challenges do you have remote working? What kind of challenge you have raising your kids in this environment? What kind of challenges are you having making enough money? I mean, all these things are challenges, and it will give you a huge buffet of information that this person is willing to share about things that are going on in their life. And all you have to do is pick an area to go explore even more, commiserate, validate it, and explore it even further. And so you don't have to come up with a topic conversation. They'll come up with a topic of conversation that you can explore by asking them the challenges they're facing, their thoughts and opinions of any of those things. There you go. It's really that simple. You don't have to come up with anything. You just have to know how to reverse it and make it about them. All right, so what topics bring people together and help them create bonds with each other? Challenges. This world we've shared for the last year plus is a great bonder together. Basically, it's funny. Let's go back to the human genetics and biology. Human beings are conditioned to actually do well. They're more imaginative. They come up with a lot of innovative things when they have a lack of resources. Because we're genetically bred to deal with less. So we don't do as well when we have more. And so anytime we're under some sort of stress, it is a great burden on us, but it's also a very big bonder together because we have to rely on each other even more. So anytime you're actually under some sort of duress or challenges or shared suffering, those kind of things bring people together. 9/11 was a huge one for me in New York. The people I shared that with, I have immense bonds with because it was that shared suffering of what you went through. And the same thing with COVID right now, the world's suffering going through that. So when you couple all those things together and then you use that kind of great language to focus on the others and be a resource for them and their success without expectation or reciprocity, that's what's a great bonder. In other words, figure out what their jobs, what the challenges they have in their life, and what you're going to do to make it easier. You will become a trusted person in their life. How to talk to a manipulator. I don't. I don't like manipulators. So basically, manipulators are just basically trying to control. They're trying to use control of you, of your thoughts, time, energy, with the use of subterfuge and deception. And so that's what I'm always looking for is I'm always seeking transparency with people. I am fully transparent with everyone because that's the only way you're going to have trust, and no trust, no relationship. So I'm the counterintelligence spy recruiter guy that tell you I will go above and beyond, be completely honest and transparent with you because that's what's going to build great trust. And so in order to do that, I'm seeking transparency in others. In other words, if I'm asking questions for understanding and clarity, manipulators are going to avoid transparency. They're going to avoid clarity. Then they're also going to have incongruence between their words and their nonverbal behavior. So if they're saying the right things that for hearing it, but they're actually giving nonverbal stress indicators like eyebrow furrowing, lip compressions, blocking, blading, anything that's coming in and compressing, that's incongruent with good, healthy things that they are trying to say to you. So that's what gives us that creepy feeling with people. It's an incongruence between their words and their nonverbal actions. So basically, I'm looking for nice nonverbal congruence with words that are focusing on me, with lots of transparency, honesty, and also vulnerability goes in there a lot as well. In other words, when they have no problem sharing what they are not good at and are transparent about that, that's what I'm looking for in every communication I have with anyone. So recognizing that manipulator, it's easy. It's just people that are not being transparent and they're not answering your questions. So that's it. That's all 13. If I can do anything else, let me know. And I'm talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.